So we just, wrapping up a non-conference schedule. It was the toughest non-conference schedule in the history of Auburn basketball, and we lost one game at Duke in a close game. So very, very proud of our kids, and a lot of the games we played were on neutral sites and away from home, and we demonstrated that we could win away from Neville, so now we get ready to start, the toughest conference schedule in the history of college basketball. Like there's maybe never been a league like this, and it's going to want to be, the strong literally are going to be the only ones that are going to survive. Hungry, healthy, humble is the way to get through it. Matchups are going to matter. We're going to lose games, but we can't let a loss affect us the next time out. We got to be beat instead of beat ourselves. But we're healthy, and we're ready.
Bruce, you guys did a really good job on Abdi Bashir. Shot, I think, 4-15 from the field. What was kind of the game plan there, and what ended up working for you guys as the game went on?
Well, first of all, our guys respected him. Second of all, we've got some pretty good individual defenders. We did have a game plan of doubling him a little bit. We didn't have to because of the percentage. If he had heated up, we worked this week on putting two on the ball and making him give it up at times. Again, Chad Baker is probably guarded him as well as he'll be guarded all year long. And I don't know whether Abdi said that, but if you asked him that question, if he got in front of the media, I think he would come close to giving that answer. We defensively do a lot of switching, but there were times Chad was able to really make it difficult for him to catch the ball. When, look, Chad Baker is a special player, and he impacts the games at both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. And like Dylan Cardwell, who had his first double-double, you've got to be an incredibly unselfish basketball player to be able to give that much effort and energy on the defensive end. Chad usually does. He usually does. And that makes him one of the things that makes him special. Unbelievable length, unbelievable instincts, unbelievable feel.
Bruce, you talked about how this Monmouth team was a really tall one, front line, and you guys plus 19 on the boards. Obviously, Janai and Dylan had really good games. What was it? How important was it for you guys to have a game like this, knowing about the size y'all are going to have to face in SEC play?
I think the difference is going to be this. I mean, they were long and they had length, but they weren't big like we're going to see in the SEC. Okay, so the physicality of what we're about to enter is. It's like playing Houston and Iowa State. Probably like Houston and Iowa State would be the two teams that I would compare to our league. Big, strong, athletic, play hard, play defense. And so, we're down 18 to Iowa State and one at the buzzer against Houston, so. And that's what we're going to see every night.
To high plus 36 tonight, 5 assists. Had those alley-oops to Jakai. Just for a guy who's settling into that point guard position, how pleased have you been with the growth of what he's done as a playmaker?
He's done a good job. Todd wants to be coached. He wants to get better, and he is coachable. He asks questions. He is, I'd say, based on preseason expectations, he's the best freshman in the country. Based on preseason expectations. Let's just say he was, 25th? He's not the 25th best freshman in the country.
Matt, and then Johnny.
Bruce, Dylan's first double-double in 141st career game. What does it say about his work ethic and how much he's improved?
Well, Dylan has had an amazing career, look up in the dictionary, Auburn man, Auburn basketball, there's a picture of Dylan Cardwell in it, right? That's, just look it up, Google it. I'm not saying that we should be. And, you know, Dylan will be as good a teammate as any player I've ever coached. He's been a great leader. We've gotten good leadership on our team, and he can get better. I mean, Dylan can play in the NBA because of his ability to guard anywhere on the court. Like when he matched up with Bashir, everybody was like, nobody's worried about it. Like that was probably the two best guards guarding him were Chad Baker and Dylan. And then he goes in there and he can bang on the inside and the physicality. Yeah, it was great. Dylan, I don't know. We're going to do some research on this. Jalen Williams was the winningest all-time player in Auburn basketball history. I think Dylan Cardwell was in a situation where he's either going to have played more games or got a chance to, like, get that record at some point.
He's second right now.
What's that?
He's second in wins behind Jalen.
Okay, he's got a chance to get it this year.
Yes.
Got a chance.
There's more wins there.
Hey, Bruce, we were talking to Chad and we were talking to Dylan about some of those highlight reel dunks that Ja'Kai Howard had. Just from an athletic standpoint, how special is he and what were your impressions of the two highlight jams?
Ja'Kai Howard is going to be a great player. Ja'Kai Howard's going to play in the NBA someday. He gets frustrated because he while he can do that, we still are trying to coach him in some other areas, and he's hard on himself. That's it. He's just hard on himself, and if we can get him to just find a little bit more joy and not be so hard on himself and not be affected by certain things, but that's just the difference between being 18 and being just a little bit older. But and when we say that he's gifted and talented, he's also a hard worker. So on other teams, he'd be starting and playing 30 minutes. But he knew coming in that he had a chance to play with some really good older players. And you could see what he obviously can do. Next year, he's got a chance to be a tremendously impactful player. But he's going to impact this year's team. He already is.
And last question for
Bruce, it's tied with like 7 or 8 minutes left to go in the first half, and then Chaney scores like 10 points in 2 minutes. Just his ability to kind of take over in a quick session. It's not the first time he's done that this season. Just how beneficial is that, especially coming off the
I was
bench?
glad Chaney took over in his second rotation, but not happy with his first. He knows I wasn't happy with his first rotation. Why not take over in the first rotation? So he did great. Yeah, he came in, he played great. And I complimented him at halftime for really not having a very good first rotation and then coming back and playing great. Part of it is taking all this time off and, and things along those lines. Athletically, physically, I have high expectations, obviously, for Chaney. So when Chaney plays well, I'm not impressed because that's what I expect him to do.
Thanks, Coach. And Dylan had 100 wins today.